Welcome to Kyrgyzstan. Earlier today, we jumped over the border from Tadjikistan via the Pamir Highway. And for the next 12 days, I think, we will be driving around in Kyrgyzstan. So tomorrow we fly from Osh, where we are currently. This is one of the popular viewpoints that they have here in the city. Tomorrow we fly from Osh to Bishkek, and then in 3 days' time, we will then rent a car and drive around ourselves here in Kyrgyzstan. So we are looking very much forward to see what this country has to offer. So yeah, follow along to see how we travel in Kyrgyzstan before we then go into Kazakhstan, the fifth of the Stan countries. The border closes at 5. Currently the route up to the border is 2 hours and 50, and the clock currently says 2 p.m. so we have 3 hours. The snow is just becoming thicker and thicker.
Karakol Lake, yeah, exactly.
Alright, we have now made it to the Kyrgyz border. So we changed cars at the pass, as you saw, between Tajikistan and Kyrgyzstan. And now we're just waiting at the Kyrgyz border to get our stamps, and then we are into the country. Of course, there was some misconceptions from their side if we should have a visa or not. We shall not, because obviously we have a Danish passport. So let's see, they have taken into the office, they've said currently there's no problems, so that's good. But therefore, it also marks the end of the Tadjikistan tour. It has been an amazing 8 days throughout the country, and we really developed a great relation also with our guide Ali and our driver Khrushchev. Last night we were sitting just talking the entire evening, and even though our driver Khrushchev couldn't speak that much English, he was still really into the conversations and so on. It was just, yeah, a really nice moment. So definitely I can recommend Tajikistan. 10 out of 10, amazing nature, super hospitality from everyone that you meet all around. And now Kyrgyzstan awaits. We have now made it to Bishkek. This morning we flew from Osh up to Bishkek, and in total we paid, I think, around $80 for 2 tickets. So that was super cheap. The flight itself was, I think, 30 minutes, super fast. And here in Bishkek, it is today 20 degrees. Sun is out, it's amazing. I'm wearing shorts for the first time since Turkmenistan, and yeah, it's just amazing to be back in a big city. We didn't have that much time in Dushanbe last week, so now it's nice to be in a big city again, go to some restaurants, some cafes, getting some coffee. So yeah, now we just have the next 2 days to explore Bishkek, and then the day after tomorrow we'll get the rental car to start our self-drive around the country. But yeah, now we just want to enjoy the sun, enjoy the warmth. It's quite a difference compared to where we started yesterday, because basically we woke up in, I think it was minus 15 in Karakol in Tajikistan, to then now sit in plus 20 degrees. So it's nice. So now we went to the Panfilov Park. Maybe the pronunciation is way off. Nonetheless, a park located next to the stadium here in Bishkek. And it seems to be a park where it's kind of an open amusement park. And then you can walk over to any ride that you want to take and simply just pay whatever it costs. And we've ended up in the Ferris wheel. We paid 150 som, which I think is around just below $2 per person. So yeah, fair price I think. And then you get a good view of the city, it seems. Get a view to the, I want to say the Alatu square. It seems to be like the main square where they have the big flagpole. And then you have an amazing view towards the mountains. So yeah, I'll show some views here. So apparently that was General Panfilov. He's probably a very important guy. Today we've been wandering around the city. We went down to the park, as you saw, went up the Ferris wheel, and then we found a very bad Italian restaurant where at first they just gave me my pizza because apparently they thought that we only should have one pizza, even though that we ordered 2 pizzas. So my pizza got cold because I waited. This is an avocado pizza, so we ordered her pizza again, which then came too many minutes later. So basically we ate separately and not together. And then on top of that, it was not very good pizzas, even though it was an Italian restaurant. Now though, we are back at the hotel terrace, just enjoying the city views. As you can see, also the mountains in the background. And I'm trying to figure out where I can buy a drone, because I couldn't buy a drone, or I couldn't bring a drone into either Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan or Tajikistan. Totally prohibited in all those countries, unless you are like doing commercial stuff. So my plan is to buy one here, and then I just have to sell it once we get back to Denmark. That's how it is. I'll probably take a loss on it because obviously, he would buy a drone in Denmark that has been purchased in Kyrgyzstan, so there's no like warranty or anything, of course. But nonetheless, if that cost me a few thousand DKK to get me some good photos and some videos here, I'm totally fine with that. So tomorrow, I'll need to find a drone, especially because it might be very nice for the mountains and like, all of the good scenery that I expect Kyrgyzstan to have. So let's see. Mission of today was to get a new drone. Mission succeeded, partly basically because the guy sent his drone with a friend from Issyk-Kul Lake up to the bus station here in Bishkek. Unfortunately though, he forgot the charger, meaning that he will drive himself up from the lake up to here, which takes 6 hours. And I told him I need it today. So I will get that later on in the evening, and then he'll get the rest of the payment. But nonetheless, we now have a drone, which is nice. And then we can continue the Kyrgyz adventure into the countryside as well. And then we just stumbled across this small shop where they were making like these kind of baked bread in the oven. This one is with chicken. They didn't have any pumpkins left, which we would have liked to try. But this one with chicken is delicious. Super warm though, so I'm just giving it some air. And now we are walking through I think it's actually called the Osh Bazaar here in Bishkek. And this wants to show where we got the, what does this even say? Kasilama. Kasilama Somsa, apparently. It's where we get these. Really, really tasty. So yeah, now we're just walking through Osh Bazaar, as it's called here in Bishkek. And then we should probably head back to the hotel just to drop the drone. And then Sisla found a restaurant for the evening, as well as a brewery. All right, so good morning from day 3 here in... Day 3? Maybe day 4 here in Kyrgyzstan. Might be day 4 actually if we count the arrival into Ush. Nonetheless, today we received the car from travel experts from Sergey, who also arranged the trip in Turkmenistan. There has been a bit of a hassle though, because the remaining amount that he wants us to pay is in cash, which, as far as I could say, there's nothing wrong with that. But getting cash here in Kyrgyzstan is also a bit of an affair because, for instance, on our MasterCard, we can only get the equivalent of 3,000 DKK per day. And on a Visa, you can only get 2,000 DKK per day. That means that the amount that we have to pay for the car has to be spread out over 4 cards and then adding up some of the residual dollars that we have. And basically it's to prevent that when we do a bank transfer, if we were supposed to do a bank transfer, the company wouldn't have to pay taxes, and basically we would have to pay additional money for them to make sure that they receive the correct amount. But when I have to do 8 ATM withdrawals, which is also connected to fees, right? And I guess both fees here in Kyrgyzstan as well as in Denmark probably doesn't even matter, right? It could have been the same, and then I could have saved myself both the time and the hassle here in Bishkek. But yeah, nonetheless, now we get a car in half an hour, so I just need to run up and get some breakfast, and then hopefully we can park the car, because I don't really want to park it on the street. I have no idea what the parking rules are, and currently I just don't want to get a fine. But let's see. Today we picked up the car, got it delivered basically. Nonetheless, we drove out of Bishkek. First we drove to get back from my drone in a mall. And now we drove to the Archa National Park. Had to pay 700 some to get in, which I guess is around like $10, I think. So now we're hiking up to the waterfall nearby the hotel. We're staying at a super central hotel, the only hotel I think there is, which actually I did see many months ago, but it just looked very, very old. And I couldn't find any place to book it. But of course, Sergey was the man and booked it for us a few days ago. Also, when we started to find out that the sky glamping we were supposed to stay in these domes, they had never received our money, and that was a big faffle. So basically we are out of pocket by $100, but nonetheless, we have a hotel, super nice hotel, newly renovated, right here in the middle of the national park. And also we've climbed, I think, around 1,000 meters in altitude, meaning that again, walking and talking is a bit exhausting. And that rhymed. Whew. So we are making our way up to the, I think it's called the Aksai waterfall. I stopped to take some drone video and tried to catch up to Sissel, but the clouds rolled in and I lost sight of her. And then there was like a 2-split road, one going to another waterfall, and I heard Sissel say in one of her videos that we should go up to 3,000 meters high. And the other one is at 3,000 meters. So I thought, okay, let me go up to a lookout point to see if I can find her. I think though that she's up there somewhere. It looks like there's somebody up there. So now I'll try. But we are getting closer to, I think, 2,900 meters. I'm sweating like a bugger. But let's see, hopefully she's up there. Also, every time I put my glasses on, they keep fucking up, meaning I can see nothing. So we didn't make it to the waterfall because there was basically ice all the way up to it. So we stopped, I think, a few hundred meters before, tried to send the drone up, but now the clouds just come rolling in. And also, the time is around 5:45, meaning that the sun will set in below or under 2 hours. Then it will become really dark. And also the cell phone is losing battery fairly quickly because it is around 0 degrees with the chill factor. So we should probably just get down. But the further down we get, the less clouds, and the more I want to stop and take photos. Good morning from Archa National Park. As I said yesterday, we stayed at the Archa Hotel. $45, including breakfast. That's it, only including eggs. And then you have to pay for if you want some porridge or some tea or coffee. Today we drive to Chunkurchak Gorge, which is the valley just next door. But before we doing that, we just decided to go up this small valley just to see what it had to offer. Also because we know that the next valley probably doesn't have like any hiking trails like this one has. And I think we've climbed now about 500-600 altitude meters. So now we'll start making our way down so we can start the drive. Shouldn't be that far. And we might also stop for some lunch at a place called Supara on the way. I think it's the same people who also has the hotel that we're staying at tonight, which is like these kind of luxury yurts with balconies. Looks really nice. Time to head down. I saw Cecil slip before, so maybe, I don't know, maybe I should pack the camera down so I at least have some hands to console myself with. Also on this hill there's many holes in the ground, which is basically, if you have seen the meme with the small, I think it's called a prairie dog. If you've seen the meme of this small, it looks like a big hamster standing on a rock yelling, "Ellen!" It's basically these fellows living in these holes. And yesterday on the hike, when I actually did the wrong turn looking for Cecil, I saw so many of them running across the plains at the other mountain. So they are here. They might just be sleeping now. All right, well, we didn't get any food at the Supara restaurant because they were totally booked. So we went almost into Bishkek to try a bison grill place that didn't exist. So we found an Italian place that seemed to be the same as the Italian place we tried the first night here in Bishkek. And now we've got some snacks for the car and of course for the hike tomorrow. Now we'll drive to Chunkurchak Valley. Alright, so we made it to Supara Chunkurchak. So that's this resort in the mountains. And we're staying in these, kind of want to say they're like luxury yurts. Really nice, elevated with the view. So it has like, should have a nice view. Currently it's very cloudy, but other than that, it's absolutely stunning. Of course, we also have been very fortunate with the weather. Currently on this trip, nothing to be said there. And I could imagine potentially during the morning light that what you see out here might be very scenic indeed. I think it's also a ski sports area during the winter because there's, or it has to be because there's so many lifts around here, which makes sense because you have these sort of curvy grassy hills. Ideal for skiing, I would say. But now we will go down to have dinner. We booked a table just to be sure that they have space because the previous hotel we had to, as you know, have our dinner in our room. So now we will go down to the restaurant, which is the biggest yurt down there. Currently they do have a wedding also going on and you can even hear the music all the way up here. I just had a look and they were dressed very fancy. It is a bit expensive. I think this one was it $140 per night? We're staying here for 2 nights. So I would say it's like European American prices. But then again, it's kind of a unique sort of stay. So I'm fine with that. Good morning from another day here in Kyrgyzstan. Today we thought we could hike up all the way to the lake called Koltor, which was a few hours away from Chunkurchak Valley where we're staying. And the weather down the valley actually looked good. And I think now we are 2.5, almost 3 kilometers into the hike, which is totally like 4.5. And we still have 300 altitude meters to go, but the snow is just becoming thicker and thicker. And we also been catched up by the clouds. So we decided to call it a hike because the chances of us getting all the way up to the top, plus having even any visibility, I think currently it's close to 0. So now we'll enjoy whatever view is left that's not covered by the clouds and then get something to drink, start the way down, because that is also quite tedious and slippery and icy and snowy. Yeah. Alright, so we actually started all the way down there. In that valley, I think it looks further, but I think it's only like 2.5 kilometers. Now we're just trying to go down a slightly different way than what we came up. It will intersect with the path we chose going up, but it seems to be less icy on this one. Good morning from another day here in Kyrgyzstan. We are currently near the shores of Issyk-Kul, which is the biggest lake in Kyrgyzstan, I think maybe also in Central Asia. And we're staying at this resort called Remote, which has these small little huts around. I think they have 6 different huts. And it's basically located in the outskirts of the Archa Canyon. Yesterday we drove all the way from Bishkek to here at Issyk-Kul Lake. And basically the road that we took from Bishkek was, I think, what you call the northern route, so that we drove alongside the border to Kazakhstan for a few hundred kilometers until then turning south, crossing a small mountain pass, and then coming down to Balinchi, which I think is the western most town of Issyk-Kul. Coming out of Bishkek, we also decided to swing past the Burana Tower. That's a very old minaret that was actually, it's only half the height that it once was. It's also one of the famous things you have to see when on those longitudes, so obviously we had to swing by. And I also got myself a speeding ticket, but that was a fairly cheap expenditure, I would say, because I was able to hustle a bit with the policeman. So it only turned out to be 500 sums, which is $5 or $6, I think. So that's fine. It's worth the laugh, I would say. We'll now try to venture out a bit on a walk, not too far, I think, and then let's see what the weather allows us. Obviously, we had hoped for sun and clear skies. But we have also been lucky so far in our entire travels throughout the Stan countries. But yeah, the resort is located down to the Issyk-Kul Lake, so it's a stunning location, and then it's basically these small huts, and then from the bed you have like a perfect panoramic view over the lake. And here is the dog coming that belongs to the property. Hello, which has big fluffy ears that also flaps around in the wind. I just had the drone up, which actually looked quite good. Couldn't really tell if it was raining where it was flying, but at least I got some decent footage, and then I will try to send it up later again as well. Alright, so we're currently inside one of the canyons here in Archa, and everything seems to be very clay, I would say. Not quite sure. We don't know that much about Earth, basically. But everything is sort of, it deteriorates a lot when you step on it. And you can also see how even a few raindrops will even make some shapes into the soil. So yeah, I would say some kind of loose loose clay. And basically, we are walking through, as you can see, one of these many corridors that is probably, I would guess, has been shaped by melting water, flowing water. And I'm not quite sure how many hairpins that we have gone through since we started down at the beach. And I think also later I'll see if I can send the drone in over these small canyons just to get a better perspective. But currently it's still raining a bit, so don't really dare. Sorry, I have a sweet. Hvor fanden kom jeg igennem den sidste gang? Nu går jeg sådan her. Alright, the sun is out and we are now on a sunset hike mission. Our hosts pointed out on Google Maps where we should go. So we have been driving for 10 minutes-ish from the hotel. So we parked the car down there and now we are going up there. Looks like it is the highest point, at least in this area. So should be some good views for sunset. Well, let's see. 10 to 15 minute walk. Alright, so we made it to the top of the sunset point. I don't know if it has a name, but we just had the most incredible sunset overlooking the Skazka Canyon. And now the light is finally gone and actually even more colors start to appear. Now it becomes sort of purplish, magenta, and it's just the most crazy view of Archa Canyon from here. It looks like nothing we've seen before. So yeah, I'll probably overlay some of the drone footage from here because basically it's difficult to get photos probably from here. You need to send the drone and get a higher perspective even compared to where we are, because from here where we are it's just difficult to take proper photos. And it's one of those places where when you experience it, it's so damn difficult to even take a photo that resembles how it feels to be looking out. But it's nice that we finally got to see how the proper Archa Canyon looks. Also, Sissel is wearing my jacket, so she's wearing 6 of her own layers and then mine on top, so 7 layers in total. I'm wearing a long t-shirt and a fleece. Alright, sun is officially down, and it probably has been down for, I don't know, 20 minutes, but we just couldn't leave. Now though, it is getting significantly more dark, so we are heading down to the car. Sissel decided to run down the hill to feel warmer. Oh, it's actually difficult leaving this place. This makes up for the last 24 hours of rain and overcast. This is just incredible. And there's nobody here. We are the only ones here. And currently we can see across the lake. We can see across Issyk-Kul, and we can see the different towns glimpsing over there in what looks to be darkness for them because they are underneath clouds, it seems. I don't even know if you can see it from here. You can see Sissel running down there. Alright, down to the car, back to the pots. Alright, it's another day here in Kyrgyzstan, Today we are heading from the resort called Remote, the Issyk-Kul Lake near the Skazka Canyon. We're heading from that up to Kyrgyzstan, I think it's called, where we have booked one night at a hotel there. The plan then also for today is to go and see the Skazka Canyon, the Fairytale Canyon, as it's also called in English, which is not many kilometers away from that town. And we just stopped at a supermarket to firstly get some money so that we can pay a friend of the owner where we just stayed because we didn't have enough cash. And then we went into the supermarket, did a bit of snack shopping, and Cecil just spotted a small bakery, yeah, on the side of the road where we have now bought some lunch, and that includes these small baked buns basically with we think it's beef inside. The cost of that was 180 sums, so give or take less than $2 for 2 of these, and they are very warm and super delicious. Alright, we have now made our way to Skazka Canyon, also called Fairytale Canyon. Skazka means fairy tale in Russian. And behind me you can kind of see why, because all the way down there, there's a rock formation that looks a bit like a fairy tale castle. Ooh, but it is super slippery, and I'm just wearing sneakers, of course. Wow. Alright, so we made it to another summit here at Skazka Canyon, and here you have like another perfect view of Fairytale Castle, I think they called it, down in the end. So we've gotten some quite good photos, some amazing video, and the colors are starting to disappear. Another amazing landscape here in Kyrgyzstan. I think the past few days has really shown off what this country really has to offer, and I think there's 2 other cars down in the parking lot apart from ours, which is kind of incredible. I mean, if this has been in the States, I would imagine that they had been milking an attraction like this, but we almost have it to ourselves. That's the crazy part of it. Let's head back down. It's also starting to get cold. Good morning from another day here in Kyrgyzstan. I feel like I start every morning in the same way, but we have stayed at this cozy small little hotel called Hotel Natalia, which is located in a small village, again close to the shore of Issyk-Kul, and the small town is called Kyrgyzstan. I'm probably saying it wrong as well. Nonetheless, today we are driving onwards east along the shore, and next up is the Barskoon Valley, I think it's called, and the Barskoon waterfall. They should also have a statue of Yuri Gagarin, the first man into space, 1961 I think. And then we'll continue upwards in that valley to something called the Arabel Pass, which should be located in around 4,000 meters in altitude and should be a very scenic mountain pass. After that, we drive onwards to Sheti-Ogus, I think it's called, which should be a rock formation, a pretty rock formation. And then after that, we continue to Karakol to do a bit of grocery shopping, because then we are staying at Karakol Resort, where we are doing our own dinner and breakfast and so on. We have an entire villa up in the mountains. So that's also interesting to see how that is. But yeah, let's get down to get some breakfast. And the dogs that are back here, they are barking like hell. Stop being so angry. Anyways, let's get a cup of coffee and let's get the day started. Alright, so breakfast today is a bit unusual, I would say. It's a few croissants and some kind of rice porridge. We do have something similar in Denmark, which we only serve for Christmas, called risengrød, and it feels a bit like the same and tastes a bit like the same as well. But nonetheless, it's porridge and it's breakfast. Also, at this hotel where we're staying at Hotel Natalia, there's some really obnoxious garden decorations, I would say. So we just turn the camera around. Here we have a lady and a dog on a horse. Over there we have some garden elves. Then we have a woman with an animal down there. There's a horse up there. There's a small well, another dried well. Over there you see a bear, and that's sort of like the kids section. Over there you see an owl. So at least you can say there's something for everybody here. It's a very unique style. We have driven up into the Barskoon Valley. Here they have made a statue, monument, whatever we can call it, of Yuri Gagarin. He was the first man in space in 1961. And he came here after his travels and he stood up on this rock just to get a vista of the valley that we're currently in. And then for some reason a local stonecutter thought that they should make this experience eternal. And therefore they cut out his face and his space helmet out of this rock. I don't know, it is a bit obnoxious, but yeah. Now we're making our way up to the Barskoon waterfall, which was basically right next to the Yuri Gagarin monument. And we've been accompanied by a small dog who's leading the way, which is very kind of him. Except he has it way easier since he has four-wheel drive and we have to send the drone up. Waterfall was slightly frozen, but it's not a far walk, so might as well go and check it out ourselves. Alright, so we made it up to the Arabel pass and it was, of course, as you could expect, very, very snowy up there and very overcast as well. But you could definitely sense how vast it is once you get up to that pass. I think we went up to around 4,000 meters in altitude, and you can continue on the other side of the pass, but you'll get down to, I think, a very, very small village that might be connected to the mine that I think this road is made for. And basically, it's a dead end. After a few more mountains, you will hit China, basically. So there is no more Kyrgyzstan to drive for, you can say, up this road. So yeah, we sent the drone up, got some okay-ish footage, but of course everything looks very white, but it looks cool with the car driving in it. And now we're making our way down from the pass. There's a lot of hairpin turns. Cecil has taken over the role as captain, and we are making our way down. We put the car into low range second gear so that we don't boil the brakes and just leave the engine take itself down. But it is stunning views up here. And yeah, of course you can imagine how nice a pass like this is during the summer, when I think there could be like green meadows and really nice colors up here, but we are still very early in the season. Nonetheless, we're heading down again to Lake Issyk-Kul. So now we made it to the rock formation called Yeti Ogus. And again, the pronunciation might be off, but as you can see here, it is also another beautiful thing to look at. But it's currently 5:15 in the afternoon. So we are also looking at it straight into the sun, and it's a bit difficult to take some photos of. But yeah, another beautiful viewpoint that we have here at the Lake Issyk-Kul. Now we'll drive to Karakol, do some grocery shopping, and then head to the villa, I kind of want to say, that we rented for 2 nights. All right, so we have made it to our small villa here in the Karakol mountains. I think the valley is called the Karakol Valley, and the river that you see down there is called Karakol River. The neighboring valley, I think, is the Archa National Park. We also paid to get into this yesterday because the hotel is situated within a park, but I don't think it's the Altin Russian. Nonetheless, we have a very big villa. As you can see, the bedroom is up there on, kind of want to say second floor, third floor actually. The living room is here on second floor, and then down there's another balcony, and then that is the kitchen, the sauna in which the shower is. That's a bit interesting. And another second toilet. Super decent views to wake up to, especially because the bed is right up there. So as soon as you open your eyes in the morning, you're being greeted by this view. Quite fantastic. Nonetheless, we don't have any power currently. I've texted the guy who owns the place when it will be fixed. He doesn't answer. So currently we cannot cook any breakfast. We're also doing some laundry, so that is also on a pause. Yeah, hopefully the stuff in the fridge can stay cool. We are thinking of doing a hike up to the top of the mountain here, basically where the ski lifts are also dropping people off during the winter. So that should be like 400 to 500 meters in altitude. Further up, then we might go to Karakol later, and we might go to the hot springs in Altin Valley as well, because they also look very nice. And I thought they were closed for the summer actually, but apparently they are still open. Made it down into the city of Karakol. We decided to leave the property that we were staying at the last night simply because we were told there was no electricity until 6, and we don't really expect that to be true even. And honestly, the treatment or the way that it was handled by the property owner, a young guy, probably around 23, 25-ish, was really not that professional. So we decided simply to change and moving on to a different property today. But until we can check in, we decided to explore Karakol for a bit. So first stop is the Duncan Mosque, which you can see in there. Cost 50 sums to get in per person. So that is less than $1, half a dollar almost. So let's get in and see what that's like.
Hello.
So basically what makes this mosque special is that it's built entirely out of wood, and it's built without the use of any nails. How it's built and hammered together, I'm not quite sure. Don't know what the English expression is for when you sort of carve out wood for order it to fit together, but it's very colorful. Now we have gone onwards to a Russian Orthodox church that is also here in Karakol. Of course, that's here because of the Russian influence, and of course because Kyrgyzstan was a Soviet state. But it is amazing to see how you can both have this and you can have the mosques that are also located in the city. We just went past the central mosque, which is actually also quite scenic to see. More has a Turkish style, I would say. I'm not quite sure that one is built by the Turkish people, like the one we saw in Bishkek. But this church is also nice. It's also made out of wood, and I have yet to discover how old it is, but let's see. All right, we have now driven to what's called the Aksu Hot Springs, which is located in the beginning. I think it's basically where the Altin Russian and the Aksu Valley separates. So I think this valley is called the Aksu Valley. And we paid 300 sums to get in, so $2-ish per person to get in here. You can also rent towels here, you can get drinks and stuff. And then they have like different pools with different degrees. So the one where the water comes out of, all the way up there, is obviously the hottest one. I just put a toe in and it almost got boiled. Then the second pool, of course, is a bit chillier. This one is, I would say, like a warm bath. The other one was very hot. Then as you go further down to the river, it gets even colder. You can also get into the river if you fancy. So it's quite nice. We have now sat down here at the Galaxy Glamping. So we changed to this accommodation after the previous property because it didn't go so well and there weren't any electricity. So we've had a day out and now we're just enjoying a glass of champagne. I'm not quite sure if it's champagne, it might be Issyk, which was, it came with the car. So now we're just enjoying the view. and the last bit of warmth before it gets probably really cold. So we'll take the dinner inside. But yeah, amazing views from up here. That's for sure. Morning from the top of a hill where we, as you know, slept in these domes that you can see behind me. And the weather's so good, so we decided to take the breakfast outside, and also quite a good view. And in the far distance you can hear a donkey yelling. Quite a vibe. So now we will pack up the car and head towards the Kazakh border. Shouldn't be that far. I think it's about 150 kilometers or something, so really not that bad. Of course, we don't know if there will be any challenges at the border or how long it will take, so might as well just get going now. Also because then we are visiting Fairytale Canyon on the way, which is basically the Kazakh version of Grand Canyon. And then we are staying at a hotel called Kolsay Nomads tonight at the lake Kolsay, and hopefully that should also have a very good view. But it is hard leaving a view like that. I mean, check it out. And for some reason our car is the only one here, so I'm not quite sure if we've been the only one staying here. In Bishkek, I was actually trying to book some domes like this as well, and I've struggled so much with it because they also wanted prepayment via bank transfer. So it never happened. They never, as they say, never received the money. And here we literally just texted them on WhatsApp, and they have availability day to day. So that's amazing. All right, now it's time to pack up the car. We just pulled over at the side of the road. I don't even know where, but we stumbled across this, I think it's apricot trees. We've seen them all the time. Either it's apricot trees or cherry trees. And here you have like this long field of it in like four to five rows. And it just looks stunning. Currently Sissel is trying to investigate how far we need to go down also to get a shot with the tree that you see here in the background. But it just looks amazing here. Obviously now I'm filming directly towards the sun, but I still think you can see it here. Lovely. Quite a way to say goodbye to Kyrgyzstan, I must say. Now we have come to the end of the Issyk-Kul Valley, or area, if you can say so. It's also where we then have to turn left up into the mountains. It doesn't look like a big mountain pass, maybe a small one. And then that's basically our way out of Kyrgyzstan to get into Kazakhstan. Currently, the road is very bumpy, very gravelly. At least it's not a very common border, I might think. Hopefully it's open, but let's see. We honestly have no idea. We're just trying. But the alternative to this border is the one at Bishkek. So, I mean, other people must come across this, I would say. But let's see. At least you can definitely get the sense that we are leaving the valley and leaving Kyrgyzstan. Alright, change of plans. We're making our way up through the mountain pass, trying to get to the Kazakh border. And then there was a massive slab of snow. We decided that was not very feasible to drive on. Also, we didn't want to get stuck, and it had been a few kilometers before that we had seen any other people. So we drove back to those guys, asked them if the road was blocked further ahead as well. And he immediately said that the road to the border is back via Karakol and then a bit up north and then east. So now we are racing back, especially because Sergey, our fixer, the guy that we rented the car from, also just texted us that the border closes at 5. Currently the route up to the border is 2 hours and 50, and the clock currently says 2 p.m. So we have 3 hours and we need to get some fuel, but we take it as a challenge. Right, so it's now 25 minutes since we had to turn around, and Sissel is driving like a Star Wars racer, I would almost say, speed or light, because currently we have now been able to catch up, I think, around 20-25 minutes. We still need to fuel, Sissel needs to pee, and we are still also looking out for all the speed cameras. So it will be interesting to see how many we get in a few months' time when they show up. Nonetheless, it should be quite cheap, but we might get a good stack of photos, we can say. Currently, it's fairly easy to gain on the GPS. Of course, you can only drive 40 kilometers per hour in the city, which we definitely are. right, we are now 10-ish minutes away from the border. We have sort of left the valley coming out of Karakul and making our way to the borderland. And we have come up to this sort of these grass plains. I kind of want to say it looks very like how Mongolia would look, I assume. Still, there's not a lot of cars. At least there's some. On the other road that we took earlier, there was nobody. So we should be in good time. At least also now we can see the fence. So we are getting closer and closer to the border. But let's see how the actual crossing will take place.